Hey, this is Abubakar Ishaq, your host. I first met Richard Brandt about 2 years ago at one of Codetrain Africa's graduation events. And right from that moment, I just knew that Richard was an amazing guy. I mean, what he was building with Codetrain Africa that I had the chance to see at that graduation event, I still can't forget. I mean, powerful. And this is something that I believe the whole world needs to know about. And Africa, most importantly, needs to learn from and champion. And today I finally got a chance to sit with Richard. And I'm really excited because in this conversation, we are going to be talking about himself, his journey, how his entire journey started, how the Codetrain Africa was brought into existence, what they are doing right now, how have their journey been, how Codetrain Africa is helping champion artificial intelligence and automation engineering in Ghana and in Africa in general, and of course the importance of building dream bit by bit and a whole lot more. So before we get into the video, I would like to say if you are not subscribed, kindly do subscribe because I have realized that majority of the people who watch our videos are not subscribed. So kindly do subscribe if you find value in this content. Do subscribe, like, comment, and share the video because it helps tells YouTube that this is a good content, and YouTube in return would now help us amplify the message to reach more audience across Africa and the rest of the world. Thank you, and let's get into the video now. So right now, I want you to tell a viewer something about yourself that they might not have known, probably you would have seen on the internet.
Okay, I mean, it's really nice to be on this show. And I really appreciate you inviting me to the show. And what I'm most excited about is how this conversation could spark a lot of young people to follow what they actually want to do, what they feel in themselves that this is the path they would want to do, rather than what seems cool or what seems what everybody is saying they should do, rather than what they really they feel within them to do. So I hope that it inspires like thousands of young people.
It definitely will.
And so my name is Richard Brandt. I think the pronunciation is Brandt.
Brandt.
The D is silent.
Oh, okay.
It is
Richard Brandt.
yes.
Okay.
And I one thing about me that it's not known in most circles is that I used to play for KNUST football team.
Wow.
In tech. So I was a sportsman, and I was doing mathematics at the same time, and I was doing sports. I played for the whole team. We woke up at 4 a.m. The school team whistle, you hear it at 4 a.m. Like all sportsmen, like in the soccer team, have to wake up, and we would go to. It's a long run before you come and train at the stadium, and then you. By the time I come back, my colleagues are actually in bed or they are going to take a shower to go to class, and then I join them. When I come back, I join them. When I come out, I'll go to the stadium to train all the sportsmen whilst your colleagues are resting. And then when you come back, you have to go and learn. So it was really, and it wasn't hard for me because right from childhood, I was playing football and I was doing sports and I was going to school, taking both seriously because it is very important for young people to be trained in a way that they can learn so many attributes from sports or any other activities. So I played for Liberty Babies, the Liberty Academy. Wow. And I remember I was when I was in under 14, John Pencil was in the Premier League side. We had Peter Forikwe, Derek Boateng. They all passed through the club, and they were abroad at that time. And Asamoah was in under 20 at that time. So yeah, I think that that's the kind of upbringing I got.
That's interesting. I wasn't expecting to hear that. I thought you were more into the tech only since. But did Codetrain started at that time or before that time or after that time?
Oh, so it's been a very interesting journey, and I call it connecting of dots, because most young people would feel very lonely in their paths. They feel very neglected, and those that don't fit people that want to do something extraordinary get lost. And most of the success stories we hear is actually um, like a fairy tale, right? But the reality is that it's it's basically dots that in the beginning are usually meaningless. So I mean, um, for me, growing up, I could naturally play football. So I played some teams. My dad was in charge of polio immunization because we lived in a hospital quarters. So so sometimes I would skip school and join them for polio immunization. Um, and we would go to villages to go and give, and sometimes, communities, places that I'm not familiar with, to go and give polio immunization to people from different backgrounds. And that opened my eye to seeing so many people from, um, I mean, I thought I wasn't privileged, but I realized I was more privileged than some other people. And then you see the reality of the layout um, of how um, hard it is for people to get mobility. So I had that experience. So in my heart, I always knew that I would love to help people. And also to playing football, we used to play the league, the coast league. You would go to away teams. Some of them are in various parts of the countries. Most of the guys are also schoolboys attending different types of schools, and you would meet different types of people. You meet people from like the traditional Gan communities, meet people from the Zongo communities. You meet people from all walks of life. And as a young boy who grew up in a hospital quarters, and that also opened my eyes to the reality of things, how it will be important to create opportunities for people. And then, so I think I was I got into the Liberty Academy and then went to tech later. And then during my national service, I was in a village in the outskirts of Accra. And at that point, there was a school just opposite where I lived. And it's a primary school. So with me doing mathematics, it was I wanted, like I mentioned, I always wanted to do something, and I had created a dot at the point where I was doing the polio immunization, to open my eyes to like the reality of households, because you do the immunization based on the household. So you enter into the house, you know how many kids are there, you know how many, you get to see the structure of like the communities. So that was like a dot, and I mean it's just a random experience. So I think I did one more polio immunization around Abokobi, getting to below those equipping like ranges and some of the Ghana communities. That was also a very big eye opener. Oh. And then the place where I lived, the opposite, the place had a primary school, and I was doing my national service at that time. So I said to one of my friends that I wouldn't, we can't be in this village. And I have a degree in mathematics. I think he had a degree in actuarial science. And so we couldn't be in this village and the kids who fail in mathematics. Wow. So we decided to help the kids to get better results. And in the rural areas, I realized that they usually don't have good math teachers, and that's what stops them from getting very good schools. And so long story short, that year they got the best math grades, and some of them went ahead to go to Ashmota. I think a couple even got Ashesi scholarship for to go to high school. I think later I connected with some of them. They went to university and they had a better life. So that was also a random dot. And my friend that helped me, Nana Safo, he's a teacher in high school in Kumasi right now. But that particular thing we did was a very big dot. We were young, we were just national service people, but we didn't know that that would actually um, um, enlighten us to even try to even do more. But it's just a dot there, just to help people and just to offer value to the world. So that was also like a random dot. And then I got after national service, I got into MEST. So in 2010, and had MEST had this program which they select some of the best graduates in the country through a very rigorous selection process. And then they offer them a full scholarship when all the support needed to become software entrepreneurs. So in those days, tech was very early days in Ghana.
Yes.
But they trained us to know how to build a startup, how to pitch to investors, how to identify a problem and then prescribe a solution to that problem and then be able to implement, the solution, right, and turn it into a business. So I was in that program and I joined a team to fix maternal health mortality, right? So it was a competition that we used World Bank data to build an app. And then the app we built was to be able to connect healthcare professionals in mostly developing countries where you might have um, a, a, a nurse or a midwife in rural Ghana and they're in a situation where they could have conversations or contacts with other, healthcare workers, let's say from a different part, and then they can share knowledge at that time. So
that's amazing.
So we won the World Youth Summit Award in Austria that year, and that was also a dot, because we just wanted to do something to help, right? And then from there, my team raised funding from MEST, and we started our first tech startup. And then that also got me into Startup Chile. So Startup Chile is the world's biggest tech accelerator. And every year they select 100 of the world's top innovators. They give them money to come and a year visa to go to Santiago, Chile, and then start a company. Because they wanted to, build their tech ecosystem. So I did that in 2014. But when we got there, I realized that, so we were about 100 people from different countries. We were the only team from West Africa. I think there were 2 African teams, one team from South Africa and us. And everybody, all the other teams had one problem. Most of the teams had one major problem, which was talent. They want to hire a software developer, they want to hire a designer, they want to hire somebody, right? And I remember, back home in Ghana, most of my friends had, talent in software development, designing, front end, back end, and they couldn't even get genuinely, good opportunities, and or they couldn't also get global opportunities. So that really opened my eyes to, how um, our people here could benefit when they get the right training and global opportunities. There's a very structured training with a very good mindset change. Then they could take advantage of these opportunities, because I realized most of the things that they wanted people to, they needed talents for, were not extraordinary tasks. They were, basic things. They were not. It's not like we are going to do the moon landing, or it wasn't rocket science. It was basically people to build platforms, people to build like a front end, back end, analytics, some design work. So there are skills that could be taught. So that was when I started getting those ideas. But I wanted to do something about it immediately. So I started connecting some of my friends and some people back home here um, to my friends who were, in that ecosystem. And so I think at that time, so we got into a pitch competition with the Africa Business Conference in Harvard. So I also got to pitch there, and saw how the ecosystem in the US also looks like. We also had, the opportunity to meet so many African startups. Even maybe a lot of the African startups, they also had that same, problem with talent and, getting access to like really, really top talent, and even senior engineers and others. So when I came back to Ghana, I decided to start a consultancy to be able to bridge the gap, between opportunity and people here. And I took on a few interns to help me with to see if they can do some of the work. But at that same time, I had some of the opportunity. Some of the universities here invite me for to speak to their students about the global opportunities. Because when I was in Chile, I was doing that as well in some of the universities, talking about my journey as a tech entrepreneur. So I continued doing that here. And then one very motivating thing was that a lot of the young people really love the idea of being able to not just finish school, graduate, wait for a government job, or wait to send their CVs, but they really had this inner drive to want to learn a skill, like want to learn um, how they can play the global game, how they can work for global companies, how they can also do much, much better than just survive. But they wanted to do extraordinary things. So a lot of them wanted to work with me, to intern with me. So I took a few group of them. But when they came, I realized that they couldn't do anything practical. So I decided to train them, and then they kept inviting their friends to the to the office, that their friend will also need help. But they also started getting opportunities. Some of them started getting internships. Some of them started getting building projects. Some of them started, getting some freelance work. So at that point, I decided to put everything on hold and then start an academy, start a school that would offer the right structure and global opportunities, right?
Yeah.
So I had to quit building like a software some consulting company, and then focus on providing quality education and a structured training program based on industry demand, based on global standards that could provide global opportunities. So that is how I started Codetrain. Yeah, so like I mentioned, it's the dots making sense, right? So
Yes.
I started by doing things that I had an innate talent for and also doing polio immunization, helping people during my national service to get better grades in math, getting into MEST, learning about software, learning about entrepreneurship, winning the Global Youth Summit Award. All these things were dots that didn't make sense.
Yeah.
Right? If you ask me what exactly did I, would I achieve, I wouldn't be able to tell you. But then I always had one thing to help people to make things better, right? To improve things, to solve problems, right? And then eventually the dots started converging, connecting.
Yes.
So I actually advise young people not to worry too much about and be stressed so much about what they want to become, to compare their story to other people, and to think they are not making progress. But their dots, everybody's dots are different. And with time and experience, the dots start connecting if they are really true to themselves and they follow the things, their curiosity, and they actually provide value. They help people, they improve things, right? Then over time, it will start connecting. And then that's where they can actually unleash their potential.
That is such an amazing overview of your journey. Yeah, really well detailed. One key takeaway here for me is I kind of understand now the impact the impact that exposure had for you and on your at your early age, based on how like you and your father do go to different communities and tribes do to render service in the polio immunization and so on. And I think it's cut across almost everything. Exposure is very important across any industry you find yourself, because you might not really know what is somebody liking or what you yourself is liking until you are exposed to that condition. But then, based on also what you just concluded with, and then from a book I read, the author said there are two type of people, right? So doing something is the dots, and then having a vision is the bigger picture. And then he said there are two kind of people. There are the kind of people who follow doing the dots, and there is a kind of people who follow a bigger picture. And in most cases, a bigger percentage of those following the bigger picture really fail to even achieve it. Because those following the dots are having the power to reiterate, learn from experience, probably because sometimes maybe you want to go to A, but then you would not know A is not the destination unless you are far gone.
Yeah.
But then when you are following the dots, you are doing something. And you did a lot of different unique things that, like, at that time, like you said, you might not even know how do they even relate, how do they even connect. But if you look at it today, they are all connected. One, you are exposed. That exposure, one power of it I can tell you right now is that you have the capacity and ability to communicate with different kind of people.
Yeah.
So it gave you the power of communication, because now you have met different race, different tribe, different kind of people, like you said.
Yeah.
So that's very important, and I'm glad you concluded that way, because like yourself, myself, I do have that kind of issue of the youth just worrying too much. I want this. Go and just do something and forget about that bigger picture. I honestly believe in what you're also saying.
Yeah.
Forget about that bigger picture. That's amazing, and I'm glad that you shared that with me. So, Codetrain, if I can tell, then the vision started around 2014 thereabouts.
So I 2014 thereabout, I started getting my eyes started getting open to the global opportunities, and what it takes, the skills, the work ethic that it took to for some of my friends to be able to be successful in dealing with the load of work that comes. Right. And when I also started the consulting software company, I was connecting them, so we're facilitating. So I also get to understand what kind of um, work ethic, what kind of profile would would be successful on the global stage. So I learned a lot along that line.
Yes.
And I was also helping doing boot camps in some of the universities. Went to University of Energy and Natural Resources, went to KNUST, Ashesi. We had Ashimota School. I was just doing talks and career boot camps in these places.
Yes.
And learning, and at that point, to me, I was just helping, but I didn't know I was creating
Yes.
dots.
Yes.
So in 2017, then I made a decision to just put everything on hold and then do something to help these young people, because I kind of felt that with my experience and some of the privileges that I got, um, somebody like me needed to fix that problem, right? Because if I didn't try to fix it, maybe nobody would fix it. And so date we've trained over 700 software engineers. 89% of them have successfully gotten jobs, global jobs, local jobs. We have a lot of alumni who also come from different African countries. And interestingly, most of them, after they finish training here and they go back to their countries, they go to start a software company.
Oh.
So we had like a few students from Nigeria. We have a student from Mali. He went back to start a company there in Mali. Another student from Gambia also went back to start a company in Gambia. A student from Guinea as well. So we have students from both French and African-speaking countries. Some of them flying all the way here to start their tech career. So so in 2017, I started this journey with that same goal or vision of helping people, like what I did with the BEC candidates.
Yes.
And it has become Codetrain Africa.
That's amazing. So this is something really that I always advocate, or let me say we always advocate, even if you consider our universities and colleges. I am a big advocate or a big noise maker of we are producing too much employees than employers or entrepreneurs, right? And based on what you have said, I can tell that Codetrain Africa is not just focused on giving you the tech skill, but also the techpreneur skill for you to have the ability to not just go and find local or international jobs. You can also start your own tech entrepreneurship journey. And that's amazing.
Yes.
But to top up on top of all of this, tech back in 2017 is different from tech in 2025 today. I want to know, has there or what are some of the transitions or growth that currently Codetrain have seen, and also how is Codetrain integrating with things such as artificial intelligence, large language models, and all this big data, which I can tell right now are riding and driving the whole tech sectors?
Okay. Yes. I When I was learning to code at MEST in 2010, tech was much different.
Yes, way different.
And in 2017, it was, for Ghana and Africa, the tech has changed, but the problem remains the same. The tech stacks change. And the good thing about the structure that we took was the coding bootcamp model, right? So, like in tech education, you have the normal certification model where we sell certificates, and we train people, they take the course, they get a certificate to prove competency. And then there is the bootcamp model, which disrupted the tech education. And that model is based on practical training, based on industry demand. So you give people a structured training program that is practical, as if they are working in a company, right? And you give them tasks like they are working in a company.
Yeah.
And they work on projects, right? And they show their competency from one level to the other until they complete. And by the time they complete, they should be able to be moved from the training program, the bootcamp here in Codetrain, into a company seamlessly so that they can start working. So it's a holistic program. We teach not just they being able to code or they being able to do technical things, but they should be able to work with other people. They should be able to take feedback. They shouldn't, complain about improving themselves. If they get feedback from their bosses, they should also be open to taking feedback from their team members.
Yeah.
They should be able to open up and also speak up when they see something, ask questions, when they get tasks. And they should be able to collaborate with, you know, um, developer teams like globally, even whether they're in Ghana or Nigeria or the US or India. They should be able to collaborate with them and work with them and have the work ethic required to be able to deliver things. Because there is a very big gap between knowing something or having a certification in something and then being able to actually use that knowledge to create value, right? So we focus on the second one. How do we train people that can actually join teams in companies and create some value, help build projects, help build products, and that same skill can also help them build their own companies. So that is the approach that we've always had since 2017. The only things we change is mainly improving the program, improving the tech stack. We've changed our tech stack over time based on what the industry demands, and we've changed our curriculum. We always review our curriculum is a living thing.
Yeah,
It lives. Yeah, we always changing, improving the curriculum because we wouldn't want to train people who would be disconnected from reality or from what the industry wants. So that's basically how our model works. So unlike a model where it's based on certification, so it will take years and decades to be able to make one change. But we are closer to industry so much that we can always take feedback from industry and then use it to improve the curriculum so that we can train people that are ready.
So this one I can tell for a fact, you're not just saying it because one of your graduates, one of the graduates of Codetrain is a staff in my company. Yeah. And I have not to discredit my other guys. I mean, I have different engineers I work with, right? Yeah. But I always like to use Prince as a point of reference. Why am I saying this is the kind of training he got from Codetrain is that like has kind of make him one of the most capable staff I have because this guy, even if you give him a task in the field he doesn't even know, because he have the right foundation, he's able to go and find himself around and know how to do it and do it on time. Yeah. So that kind of foundation, I mean, we are not just bragging about it. That is something firsthand that I've seen. Yeah. And it's really amazing. But I mean, we all learn these things because one way or the other we want to make money. Yeah. And one thing, I don't know, when we speak about access to international job opportunities, are we talking about just like working in a company, or does Codetrain Africa look at freelancing opportunities on showing their students how they can get access to freelancing platform like Upwork, Fiverr, and others? Things? We look at that because recently, earlier this year, I did my company. I have a journal. We did a small research on Ghana and West Africa, and then based on what we found on the freelancing platforms, we took the major 3 platforms, which is Upwork, Fiverr, and Freelancer.com. About 90% of tech experts that we have on this platform coming from Ghana. About 90% of them haven't even logged back into the profile for years. Like they've created it, but they haven't logged back in. I don't know what is the cause. The 10% that are active have earned below, let's say, $10,000. And then we narrowed things down to that 10%. We look at things like, let's say, full stack, front end, automation engineering, prompt engineering, and other things. And to my surprise, I was getting 2, 3 people. And I removed, or let me say, we removed the skills completely, and we asked in Ghana, is there any person that has earned more than $100,000 on freelancing platforms? And we got only 3 people. One lady is not even in tech; she's into administration. And then there is one guy that since then I tried so hard and I was able to find him. So he was a person around 200,000, and then another guy also around 200,000. So I'm like, how can we say the whole Ghana only 3 people have crossed 200,000, and there was actually nobody at 100,000. They're all below 10,000. So I don't know. I want to know like what is Codetrain Africa doing, because this is actually a problem that exists. Even right now, I was actually checking to confirm has the numbers changed and actually the same thing. Yeah. So I don't know. Because I think freelancing is a great thing as well. Right? It's not. I don't believe it's not everybody that should graduate with a tech skill and sit home and to define a company either here or outside. With freelancing, give you the opportunity to actually be doing something from home before you actually find any company to work with. So I don't know, like it is something that is within the scope or focus of Codetrain, and if so, why do you think we are not seeing those people on the data?
Okay, I mean, excellent question. In my first startup, we actually built an aggregator that is in 2012 to pull jobs from different freelancing sites to freelancers, right? So at that time it was Elance, Odesk, people per hour. We were able to build an app that aggregated everything for freelancers, and we help freelancers create one profile based on all the profiles, and we aggregated all their reviews into one profile. So it is something that I was really excited about. But when we so the whole idea of Codetrain is to empower ambitious young people, right, to be able to take up space in the global tech scene by giving them the right training and access to global opportunities. So in the beginning, the idea is to be able to train young people who would become exceptional and independent, right? And they can explore opportunities. They can know what freelancing sites are. They can get job opportunities. They can start companies. They can that freedom. That freedom is something that we actually aspired, right, to help people. So instead of hiding things from people, we actually rather let them know, and even training them. We even train them to learn how to learn, because it's one of the most important skill sets. And we train them. So even at Codetrain, when they ask questions, we don't tell them that this is the answer. We ask them, have you checked here? Have you thought about this? Have you thought about this? So and that's resulted in we having a very high success rates in the number of candidates that got opportunities, right? And usually we had more opportunities than students that are ready to take them. So most of them launch their careers with companies and opportunities, right? And we were not training at very, very high volumes, because we are focusing on quality. So I think we've still been trying to meet demand mostly. However, we have a few of our alumni tryouts, like freelancing, and the results has been like really great. One of the alumni, she ventured into UI UX design, and she has done so much work on freelancing sites for different companies in the US and in Europe as well. So some of them have actually explored, but it looks like they have a lot of opportunities, and they are always being pulled into opportunities. So um, we've not had people who actually aspire to be on freelancing sites, because even those that started their companies, they have a lot of projects, they have a lot of things to do. So it's one of the byproducts of the success we have. And recently, one of our students, he hasn't officially graduated yet. I think he's going to graduate next month, and he got a job with a company here. And then in that same month, a company in Canada actually sent him a message and offered him a contract to do. He hasn't officially graduated yet, right? So I honestly think that from my background in freelancing sites and these platforms, it's a great opportunity for a lot of our young people to take. But we've not taken advantage of it so much yet. And I think that as we grow and we train more people, there would be, we could actually meet the demand we are facing, like here in Ghana and some of our global partners. And then we can be able to have a lot of them also go into freelancing as well. But we have a lot of alumni that have that they've been successful in especially Fiverr and other platforms. And I also think that some of the roadblocks are, payments, PayPal being blocked in Ghana. And I'm really happy that the minister is working to restore PayPal in Ghana and some of these infrastructural problems. I believe that once as those things, infrastructural problems get eased, it will be much, much easier for a lot of young people here to take advantage of earnings online.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Do you get terrified of AI? Does AI terrify you?
It's exciting.
It's actually exciting.
Yes.
That's interesting.
Yes.
How does AI, or how has it impacted what Codetrain is doing?
So interestingly, we like I mentioned, we've always evolved. Coding bootcamps always evolve. Like we are always improving our curriculum to meet the demand of industry. And recently, we have a partnership with GIZ to start, an AI talent accelerator. And the whole idea is to be able to train people in AI development, become AI developers, and then meet, like the high demand for software development. Because AI is no longer the future; it is the present. Like it is now. So if like Ghana and Africa doesn't develop AI talents, then we risk being left behind. So Codetrain wants to pioneer that with our partnership so that we can train AI developers that can actually help in solving problems, like, in Ghana and Africa using AI. Because imagine diagnosing, in rural areas, like AI models that are improving diagnosis, helping crop yields, agriculture, production, and so many things. I feel that just like the way we leapfrog the computer stages of tech and straight into mobile, payments and mobile and everything, I believe we can actually leverage on AI to be able to also solve so much problems and to also be able to compete. And the main mission of Codetrain is to enable people here to be able to be in the forefront of tech leadership. When we started, the goal was to basically help people to get opportunities, to get jobs, to get a better life. However, one of our graduates of where he actually was working with an accounting firm, and I think as an intern or so. And at that time, he was now starting his career, and he wanted to get into tech. And gradually, he graduated from Codetrain. I think he was part of our cohort that graduated during the COVID time. That class, the entire class got jobs within 2 weeks after graduation. And he started his career, and you could see that he got to a stage, he was doing very, very well, and you could see that he had the potential to become like a global leader, like a tech global leader, because he was consulting for companies like in the US and other places. And we have similar stories like that. One of our students too, Awal, he's based in Berlin now, and he works. He works remotely, but he comes to Ghana, and he hops around a lot. And he also started here, and he got, I think, the first global opportunity he got was in Canada, and within 6 months they moved him, from junior to like senior developer. So we took a step back and realized that Codetrain could have a much bigger impact than just helping these young people to thrive, and that we could actually be, aspire to be the organization that actually creates the next generation of tech leaders, African tech leaders that can actually take their place in the global tech scene, and they could actually be able to be part of leadership conversations, as well. So in that same line, and truly we've had a lot of our graduates now taking senior positions. Some of them have become CTOs in startups, and they are doing amazing things. Some of them are on panels, speaking in conferences in the UK, Ghana, other places. So our main mission is to be able to help young people here, like in Ghana, in Africa, to be able to be part of like the leadership, like globally in tech. And we've been able to prove that some of our alumni can do that. So when the AI conversation came in, we decided to also partner with UIZ to be able to create that kind of capacity, so that we can be able to get our students to be future-proof. Because software development has now become very, I think it's not only software development, but the future of work is now very, very intertwined with like AI. AI has become the new social media, or it has become the new like Web 2.
Yes.
Web, like the way Web 2.0 came.
Yeah.
So we are working on this partnership, and we are going to train AI developers that can use AI tools, and also developers that can also build AI systems and models as well, so that they can be able to get global opportunities in AI. I think you saw how AI companies globally are poaching talent with some of the global companies poaching talent for millions of dollars, offering millions of dollars to AI engineers. So I believe that this phase of Codetrain is going to help to future-proof our students, and everybody that comes to Codetrain is going to not just become a software developer, but become an AI developer. And I believe that a lot of the companies here would be able to take on some of these talents to actually come up with era-defining solutions to problems here. Because AI is tech like no other that has come before. It's quite different. So I hope that it is used to solve problems using the graduates that we train.
Yeah. And let me use myself as an example here to actually back this that it's actually possible. This morning I was talking to a manager. I told her that I had to attend one annoying meeting or interview. So personally myself, I'm a prompt engineer and AI developer. And that interview was about an AI development company in US reaching out to an engineer in Ghana to lead an AI development team in US.
Wow.
So that should let you know like how serious this is, and there is a demand for our talent.
Yeah.
There is a demand for our talent. It's not really that you have to be in the US. You can be here in Ghana, and we can have an impact in building amazing products. Well, that one aside, when I was at the Codetrain graduation event last year, one thing I realized was that at that time, even let's say 2-3 years back, Africa was booming when it comes to fintech. So a lot of the demos the students made at that day were mostly fintech solutions.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to this year's on because I really want to see something AI.
Yeah. So
Though I know AI is new.
yeah,
So
that year we actually gave them an innovation challenge.
Yeah.
And the challenge was to build fintech
fintech solutions.
solutions.
And they were amazing. The demos were really amazing.
Yeah, and we have I think in our first cohort in our AI accelerator program, the demo day will probably be in March or April next year.
Yeah.
You would see very very big AI projects being demoed, and like I mentioned, I just hope that this plants the seed um, for organizations here to get access to talent, to tap into AI to solve so many problems.
And of course, the founders, we should start building things. Look
Yeah,
at how amazing platforms like Paystack are doing,
yeah,
Flutter Waves
yeah,
are doing.
yeah,
I mean, Haptel and co on. You see, but these are all fintech. We should also,
yeah,
we should see our young entrepreneurs, should start building things. It's not really all about fintech. Example, we spoke about, we still have problems in the agri-tech. You can do a lot of things to improve our agricultural sector health. You can do massive things there. So really, guys, take the challenge and go for it, right? But another thing is not really the skill, but the funding. So I don't know, what are you guys? Yeah. So what are you guys do with that?
yeah. So one thing about building companies is not just the idea. The idea is one step, but the execution and the execution needs it needs funding.
Yeah.
And I think that we are at a stage where people are getting more open to funding ideas as opposed to in 2010 or 2015.
Yeah, that was hard.
But I think now you have a lot of people open to funding, and I think the reason is because of you have so many local apps that are offering loans now. There's a proliferation of fintech and so I think I honestly, and it hasn't been the best so far, but I kind of feel that it creates the foundation for people to now take a step back and begin to invest in companies.
Yes.
Right, in tech companies, and also to invest in ideas. And I'm also hoping that the startup bill also gets makes a lot of progress, because it enables the structures, all the structures needed, and the the legislation, and the policies that will be put in place to ensure that people can now start investing in ideas. And I feel that it's going to open a lot of doors to a new industry where people that have 100,000, 200,000, 500,000 cities can invest in a young person's idea. And the frameworks, the legal frameworks, the business frameworks, everything is really, really outlined there. And it makes it's going to create a whole industry for that to happen. Because if you look at the industry, you see that most of the big funding is usually from other places.
Yes.
And it is great. We need that as well. However, some of the brightest ideas too should have some local support. Not all companies could become tech companies or $1 million companies, or companies that it would need big investors that would need big exits. But some companies can be just okay companies, making a few $100,000 every year, and there could be good investment opportunities for people, and I also believe that so many people also would have cash, and they would have and they would want to just help, or they would just want to be part of building something, but the frameworks might not be very strong, so they might not be so excited about doing that. But when those frameworks are put in place and the checks and balances, it makes it much more easy for such investments to come. And I believe that that's going to open the door to so much, especially with AI, because of the potential for it to learn and solve problems, solve so many problems, like problems that we never thought. Right now, we have no boundary as to how much or how many problems AI can solve. We don't know whether it will solve cancer or not, but the mere fact that we are talking about that alone tells you about the potential. And I think that it will be worth people in the future, taking these bets to invest in ideas.
Africa did not build Google. Now Google
Yeah.
vision. We don't have the vision of Google from Africa, right?
Yeah.
Do we? I can't remember.
No.
Good. But then China have their own vision. Do we need our own vision of AI?
So
We just have to make use of what is there.
yeah.
Like what we do with Google.
Yeah, we need I wouldn't say put it that way, but we need to build our own AI.
Really?
Right. We need to, yes, because we need to build our own like data sets, because the tech is not just generative AI is not the only AI. There are other forms of AI, and that solves different types of problems. And what makes AI more relevant is the data sets, the data it learns, the information that is giving, and everything. So we need to as for AI, is tech for everyone, but so we need AI, but we need our own AI, but we need to be able to build our own systems, and we need to be able to build our own data sets, that can preserve our culture, that can preserve how things work for us, right? So that you wouldn't depend on other people's, because the AI, other people's AI will be defined by their data sets,
Their culture.
and their culture, and what their intentions are. But we need to build our own data sets for our own solutions, right? Because because malaria, for instance, in Ghana, the symptoms and everything, how people feel and everything, how it's even evolving, how it's changing its forms and everything, in Ghana is very peculiar to Ghana, right? So we can't use, like data set from somewhere else to do it. So if you look at the systems so you realize that we need to do that, because, and there's actually, and it is not like the tech before, where like we just sit back and then we wait for things to happen, and then some of it meets us. This AI tech is very different.
Yes.
There is a time limit, to what we need to do. We can't sit down and wait, because when the AI systems hit a certain point, then it gets too late. It will be very difficult for us to now get into it. We need to get into it now, because some of the systems are already um, um, doing like really, really amazing things.
Well, yeah.
And some people claim to have reached AGI.
I don't know.
Others, well, I mean, if the scientists and the researchers in the 70s or 80s saw AI, what AI is doing, they would have said it has reached AGI,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Actually, AI is not new thing. That's what most people
yeah,
understand. It's been in the
yeah.
it's now that it's actually being AI.
Yes, now we have like B2C, interaction, but I think that um, whatever AGI is or whatever that point is where the AI gets so intelligent that it becomes smarter than everybody on earth in every subject or topic, then it gets a little bit late for us to get into it, and that's why we need to build the capacity. I honestly
Because
don't think that we are late.
AGI today, some are even claiming, like they said, they've already achieved artificial general intelligence.
Yeah.
Well, we don't even have, the whole Africa, there is only one data center in South Africa. So how are we going to build AI?
Yeah, so I think that like
a long way to, I believe.
Yeah, we have a long way, but we are not late because there is still a lot of conversation around AI.
Yeah, I did hear some recently.
AI regulation.
Yeah.
How should AI, data privacy.
Yeah.
So we are at a point where the conversation is being had. About what would you call safety in AI?
Yeah.
How do you define safety? How do you define this? How do you, systems are being put in place. So that's what I mean by this is the time for us to get into it.
Yes.
Develop talent, develop capacity, and then start getting leaders that would be at the forefront of AI. That could also be part of that global conversation. Yeah. Right? Get developers that could also be part of it. In terms of the tech, I think we do not necessarily need to start from building everything. We don't need to raise $1 billion to build huge data centers. But just like the way we use AWS and other things, we could you could. So I'm saying this because young people with talents in AI could sit in their rooms and leverage these huge infrastructures to start doing something now. Start building some models to train some data sets. Start using them to solve problems now, right? And then we can be part of the conversation. I think DeepSeek.
I was just about to say that they did that. The budgets that they claim to have developed DeepSeek was way lower than what they use for OpenAI. Yeah.
Yeah, because
they didn't build it from scratch.
Yeah. So there is so I feel that this point brings a huge opportunity for us to, and because if you look at like the first industrial revolution, the second like the industrialization, the third like computerization, social media, whatever, we were we were left behind mostly, and we are in the fourth.
Yes.
And I feel that this is a brand new opportunity for us to be able to use that, not just to compete, but to be able to use them to solve some of the most pressing problems here.
Yes.
Like fix so many problems
just like
that we are facing.
Malaria, for instance. Yeah. These are things we can definitely take advantage of AI to resolve. I did see different several examples from the developed countries where these DNA issues were being solved within minutes. That they say you could have take years to even get the actual protein sequence and all those.
Yeah. When I was I was in Santiago, we like in my apartment I had like sometimes you see a mosquito in the on the corridor, or maybe sometimes like on the balcony. But right now, and sometimes they could like give you a bite or two, but you are not going to get malaria.
Really?
Yes, because they eradicated malaria.
I think I did read about that somewhere. That they introduced a new breed of mosquito that actually got rid of them.
Yeah. But what I mean is that there are cities that, not that the malaria doesn't exist or mosquitoes don't exist or anything, but they've taken steps to say that, okay, fine, Accra is free of malaria. Right?
Even though mosquitoes there.
Yeah, mosquitoes are there.
Wow.
So they actually I think recently, I think Egypt also, one of the North African countries, like came out with like something like that, where they were close to, eradicating malaria. Yeah.
Wow.
So that I realized that, wow, this is something that if you decide to clear it, then you can actually do that. Do you understand?
Yeah.
It wasn't something that is a choice that, oh, do we want malaria to be around, or do we want to just take the necessary steps to eradicate it? Maybe it will be, but it's not going to be a menace like now, because Ghana loses so much money in productivity because of malaria. Because when you get malaria, that week is out. The following week, you can't be that productive.
Yes.
So imagine if you have 100 workers, within a year, at least each worker might get one or two, malaria. Maybe the lucky ones might not get anything, or maybe they might, from mild situations to extreme situations. So imagine the productivity drop.
Yes.
Yes. And even young children are still dying from malaria, and and there are so many things. I remember I went to I think there is this hospital in Amasaman also, and we saw that it's near the banks of the Densu River, like get it from Amazon to Insawam, that area.
Yeah.
And they had like meningitis, right? And I saw a patient with like with that situation for the first time, and it was really heartbreaking. There are places there are some villages that have some insects that when they bite you, in the long term, you get you're prone to blindness.
Wow.
Right. There are places where you could get certain conditions based on historically what has been around and some of the things around there. And I feel that, and sometimes it's very, very difficult. So much research has been done in these areas, right?
Yes.
And there is so much data sets, and I feel that AI could unleash some of the like breakthroughs in those places, right? If you talk about healthcare and community health and all, these areas, it could help in some of our research. Guys like at Noguchi, like University of Ghana Medical School, other places, to be able to unlock so much things that would have taken 50 years to unlock. Maybe we could have we could fix them in 4 or 5 years. So that is just like in that area. So imagine agriculture, imagine transportation. How do you fix road accidents? How do you fix like our systems, communications, providing opportunities, jobs for people, the creative art space. So I think that it unlocks so much that even if you look at what is happening globally, what is happening locally is so much that even cultural preservation, how do you preserve our languages? As a traditional leader myself, how do I ensure that the culture and the things that makes the people who they are preserved? How do you ensure that these things are actually preserved? How do you ensure that they you can make use of all that data to preserve them and to make meaning out of them, right? So I feel that there is so much that could be done, and we need to build the talent and the capacity for that, and also to the frameworks for funding as well.
I'm part of a panel where we discuss AGI development and the risks. Of course, the risks are really a lot, though. In one of our discussions, I can really remember seeing snippets about Ghana's government interest in investing in AI in some of the technical universities here. Though I'm really looking forward to seeing how they are going to implement AI from Ghana. You said a little bit right now about your traditional background as well. I don't know if you can tell me a bit. So Richard is not just technical; you're also a traditional person. Tell me a little bit about that, and then I think I would like to, from your response, I would like to go a bit deeper.
Yeah, I am Ninja Ini the fourth, Asafoatse for Osublogodo. And as Asafoatse, I am the father of the Asafo group, the traditional youth group that ensures that the traditional setup is actually preserved. I think in the olden days they used to protect the traditional area. They used to make sure that other people do not take what is not theirs as well, and to preserve the whole tradition, and to preserve and protect the king. Right now, so that's the challenge they had in those days. But in our modern times, the challenge is different.
Yeah.
And the challenge is, as Asafoatse, how do you ensure that, firstly, you bring progress to the people? How do you ensure that you support the king or chief to make to implement some of the good works, and to bring high quality education to the people, good healthcare, bring opportunities to the people, enforce that the potential, because like in Ghana, most areas have um, their potential, what some of the youth are very, very good in. So how do you unlock that potential and to help them to be able to also connect globally, and to be able to be modern, right? And to create a lot of progress and prosperity. So that is what the challenge is now. And that is something that I intend to work on, to be able to help bridge, use innovation, and data-driven decisions to bring progress to like the traditional area.
Thank you so much. I think you've exhausted a lot already, but then before we go, I would like to ask, aside Codetrain and then the traditional responsibilities, what are you currently doing?
Oh, so I basically I'm very committed to these two things.
So convenient.
Like running Codetrain, because our mission is to get like Africans and Ghanaians to take their place in the global tech scene. So our goal is to scale up in the next few years so that we can be able to train thousands of people. We can be able to unleash so much talent. We can be able to create so much opportunities for young people. We are also looking at unlocking funding, like we mentioned
Very
earlier.
important. Yeah.
And the kind of funding we want to unlock is not the kind of funding that goes into infrastructure or other things, but the kind of funding that bets on the individual potential of people, like funding people to get an education here, funding and people who would have been marginalized. Finding people with disabilities, persons like with disability, funding a lot of like women and young ladies, funding people that are not from privilege, and people from rural areas with potential. The mission is very huge, and traditionally I also want to do some of the things that I mentioned, like preserving like culture, being able to help the leadership in Osu, and like the Ghana state in general, to be able to see how we can leverage on innovation, data sets, and like tech to unlock a lot of progress for the people, especially in education, improving livelihoods, and being able to create the necessary frameworks that can be able to uh, position leadership to be be in a capacity to augment what government does, so that the people can benefit from it, and not just doing the cultural things alone, but looking at how to be more strategic to be able to take advantage of opportunities, I mean, locally here and globally here, and be connected to what is happening globally as a whole. So I usually don't do anything. I think
This is a lot.
usually,
This is a lot.
it's a lot, and usually I would just train, like go on walks or train or play football, something. But it's basically to basically to do some of these things, and also spend time with family.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so to close right now, I would like you to give a final advice to our viewers, especially the youth watching you right now. What would be your advice to them?
Yeah, my advice to the youth and young people is that they should trust themselves, and not be so much driven by and be pressured into becoming an overnight success, because they need to know that success is something that is like a mirage. There is no point where you feel that, wow, I'm successful, right? And I think you would understand with me that, and when you aspire to get to a certain stage, and sometimes you get there and you miss you miss the periods where you were aspiring to get to that stage, and you realize that there is really nothing ahead, and the journey is the reward. The journey of being able to, for them to stay true to themselves, to always help wherever they are, to be able to always create value, and to be always be able to add to things, solve problems, would aspiring to do that actually is going to drive them through the doors they create, and they will eventually find them. Others might find themselves early, others too might find themselves late, but usually the journey is the reward. There is nothing there is nothing there isn't going to be any destination where they feel that, wow, I've arrived. And they should think about it. Those that are like ahead and everything are aspiring to be something else. They are actually aspiring to to, maybe if they are a board director, they are aspiring to be something else. If they are rich, they are aspiring. Maybe if they are a millionaire, they want to become a billionaire. If they are a billionaire, they would, everybody aspires. So It's
Relate
and
to it.
yeah. So I
Yes,
think
so-
what is most fulfilling is for them to be able to. What worries me most is I think everybody should be able to unlock their personal potential because everybody has their own strengths and
Yeah.
people can succeed in become successful in whatever their strengths are. But usually from the advice from sometimes people in their 30s ask me for advice and sometimes it's sad that you realize that they had their their potential was in something, right? But then it is cooler to do something else. So then now they want to go back to do what they really want to do and what makes them tick. So I kind of uh, uh, and because of social media, there's so much pressure for people to like young people to think that what they are doing is less or it's not important. But I feel that if they are doing something that helps and solves problems for every one person at a time, it is worth it. And that experience is going to lead them to unlock their potential. So I'm more worried about people unlocking their potential because nobody unlocks their potential and they do not have a fulfilling life. So I'm more worried about they unlocking what their potential is, than whether they'll be successful or not. Because success is, how do you define success? You could even become financially very successful, but you still wouldn't have unlocked like your potential. All right. So and I understand that there aren't lots of opportunities here locally in Ghana. But at the same time, it is, I think you would agree with me. It's sometimes when you need a particular skill sets or a particular um, profile, right? When you are hiring, the hiring process, you realize that it's very, very difficult to find like particular skill sets
Yeah.
because most people try to mold into like what traditionally there are, right? But companies and organizations that want to even hire find it difficult to get those skill sets. And even sometimes entrepreneurship, and problem solving also needs people, that can are uniquely they are uniquely tailored to solving certain problems.
Yeah.
Right? Rather than otherwise everybody will look at things the same way. So I'm more worried about those that do not feel that they have they feel down because they might be in the village volunteering somewhere or they might be doing something really, really important, but they might think that it is they are not really moving forward. Right? I feel that so long as it creates something positive, solves a problem, then they can take those as dots and eventually they will find and connect those dots. I think that for parents, they things have changed. The world has changed.
Yes.
The world as it is, and most of the kids that are growing up now are the majority of them are going to do jobs that do not exist right now. So the question is, how do you prepare these kids? How do you raise these kids? Because the education system automatically is outdated right now, right? All the exercises, the essays we have to write, generative AI can write all those things,
Way better.
Yeah, even better. So how do you raise, a successful person? So I feel that we should think a little bit outside the box and look at the holistic development of the child. And because I see a lot of people playing the game where it's about taking their children to the best primary school that they can afford. So they get into the best high schools they can, get BC, and get very like 10 ones or whatever, get into the best
Universities and all this.
universities, getting the best schools and everything. That's the game that a lot of parents are playing.
Yes.
And I feel that the future that we are looking at requires more than that. It requires them to have children that have very good communication skills, um, people that can solve problems, people that can think critically, because the majority of content that we create will be AI generated.
Yeah.
So being able to think critically is important. Being able to solve problems is important. Being able to work in teams, being able to communicate well, is important. Leadership is important. And these things, and I advise them to, from my experience, I did team sports. And when you realize that in other countries, the education system, team sports or any kind of sports at all is so important to even, I think it's a huge chunk of the kind of opportunities you can get, like high schools, universities, and everything, because those leadership qualities, those team qualities, those qualities also shape the person. Yeah. Right. So we need to be able to train more young people that can be able to work together. Right. We need to get most of our young people to um, um, be 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 gritty, like be very resilient. You know. So some of the things that they can do is like getting they're trying to do sports. I think it's one of the shortcuts. Learning other things apart from the normal education and getting the best grades and going to the best schools game. They should also look at other things like sports or music or other things that could also make them become more holistic and rounded so that they can compete with people from other places, because now the world is more global than ever. Their children would have to compete not only here, but then they have to compete with other people. So they are going to test them based on how good their communication is, how good their interpersonal skills is, how good their resilience is, their leadership and their problem solving skills. Not based on their grades per se. Yeah. All right. So it's something I think it's so important that because I realize that most of our students that have done very well required these kind of adjustments to be able to fit culturally and to be able to have a mindset, the right mindset. So I think it's also very important for parents to start working on. And also schools, I also hope that schools also adopt these a more holistic approach to train, even our universities and even our high schools too.
We have a lot of work to do on our education system.
Yeah. If our schools can also be able to adjust so that they because I remember when I was in high school, like I was playing like the course league and I was doing science in school, right? Yeah. And if I apply to a university in America, I'm likely to get a very good scholarship. And maybe I'm likely to get like admissions and everything. And there is a reason for that, right? However, another person who is not doing the same thing would get would be graded higher than me, right? Because I'm doing even extra stuff, right? But then they'll be graded only based on the test scores. Yes. So I have to compete with the person squarely. Yes. On that, right? But the things that we miss is that the person doing those sports is working on their leadership skills, their team skills, so much like resilience, the discipline you learn, and all these things are lost. Right, so it is good that I think that some of our high schools and some of our universities need to also consider these kind of things and include it in the grading system as well. Because for us, as an employer, how do you really judge these kind of qualities, right? Because if it was in other places, you would have seen that well, this person was an athlete. This person was a captain of the volleyball team, you know, played in tournaments, has resilience. You know, like it makes.
And these are very important.
Yeah, these are
Yes.
very, very, because that's what we do every day.
Yes.
Like teams, that's what we don't do exams like in the workplace.
Yeah, this is very important.
We are always like going out there, like working in teams, getting things done. Things don't always go rosy. Sometimes we lose, we come back. You know, you play some of the matches, you lose. Play some of the matches, you win. You move forward. So these are some of the skill sets that are so important. And I hope that school, parents and schools start adjusting and start preparing for the kind of future, because nobody knows what in that how in 20 years time or 15 years time, or in 10 years time, how much industries will change. You know, so I think it is very important for them to look at developing their children in a much more holistic way.
Thank you so much for sharing this advice for the youth, parents, and school.
Yeah, thank
That's
you.
complete. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for giving me so much of your time to do this with me. And then to the viewers as well, thank you for watching up to this point. If you've gotten to this point, the next thing I want to tell you is that go and check out Codetrain Africa website to learn more about their prospectus. Thanks so much once again.
Yeah, really appreciate
Forward to meeting you
at the demo day.
Correct.
Yeah.
Thank you.